So this is something that I've been personally experiencing, and I thought I should share because it's a reminder to myself and I guess everyone else. And this is just a concept of delayed gratification. So I've been creating a little bit more content, nothing crazy, just like whenever I can, just on the side. And something that I've kind of fallen into once again, I think we all fall into this, is the concept of comparison and wanting what someone else has. And this is something that I don't usually experience because I'm not really on social media. Like, I literally delete like the big apps off my phone. So Instagram, I don't usually have it on my phone. TikTok, I don't usually have it. YouTube, I have it on my phone. That's probably the only platform I really use. The big thing here is just being patient and delayed gratification. And I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see, and I'm still not seeing them yet. Like, it's kind of like that concept of fruits of your labor. I'm putting things out, I'm doing things, I'm trying things, and nothing's working, nothing's sticking. And that frustration is there. And sometimes, like, I have to kind of tell myself, you know what, like, just trust the process. You're getting 1% better. Like, sometimes I don't do that. I'm getting 1% better. Sometimes I'm trying to do something, trying to build something, and it's like, it's like this frustration. I'm trying my hardest, I'm trying my best, but like, it's not there. But there's always this thing where it's like, you're getting 1% better. And sometimes I don't see that, right? And that's where I think the concept of delayed gratification comes in, because I always have to remind myself where I started, how all this came across, and just a lot of different things that have come in my life. I always have to remind myself how far I've personally come. Like, for example, like I look at my computer sometimes. It's a high spec'd out MacBook Pro. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, there was a time when I had a computer. I think I spent I think it was like $150 or $200. It was like some like PC. Like it was not like a very good computer. Right? It was like maybe $150, $200, maybe even less. And I remember it took me somewhere, right? And for those of you who remember when I was doing photography, it helped me make money from photography. It helped me excel in that field. My camera was a Nikon D3100. I bought it on Facebook Marketplace, and I think it was at like a pawn shop or something like that. And I think it was like $200. I think it was $200. I can't remember. It was between $150 and $200. So the same thing, right? And I remember having that camera, and then I bought a 35 mil lens. I think that was like $150. It took me really far, right? Now I have Fuji camera. Like, at that time it was about $2,000. So now it's probably a little less. Obviously models change and stuff like that. I may eventually get a new model, but it's held me down. Like, I've done photography with it. I've done different things with it. I don't really do photography, but that's pretty much the concept. So, and sometimes I look back. Sometimes I look at even pictures of myself before. I look up pictures of myself. I'm like, okay, this is where you came from. I kind of forgot, how far I've come in terms of like even my career path. I was working jobs, not knowing no direction, just feeling lost and confused. And I remember that feeling. It's one thing when you're working a 9 to 5 or you're working a part-time job, and you're there just for the process. Maybe you're there for a certain reason, but you have something that you're leaning towards. But when you're working like a job, like what I mean in the job, I mean like where you're there for set hours. You don't really know what you want to do. Maybe you're there, obviously, maybe you have families, you have commitments, you have things, and you know that you don't really want to be there, or you know that there's no future for you there, but you just don't know what to do. And for me personally, I've kind of overcome that. The work that I do, I really enjoy what I do. For me, ideally, I see my lifestyle being this, doing exactly what I'm doing for with more money. That's exactly what I see my lifestyle. So I always have to remind myself that, like, you should be grateful for this, this lifestyle that you have. Big thing as well. And yeah, and sometimes what happens is we get so fixated on the future, or we get fixated on the what's going on. And this is, again, as I'm sharing, and this is what I've been experiencing. So I'm kind of speaking based on like my personal experience, but I'm also speaking, I'm also speaking based on like how many people feel. So this is something that I've personally experienced, and because of that, I've been trying to find my personal way. Slowly but surely, I'm changing up my habits. Like I notice that there's times when I have big spurts where I'm doing so much, I'm getting so much done, and then I take a little step back. When I get into this little rut, I tend to stress a little bit. I tend to I need to like kind of get back. I'm doing better though. I'm doing way better, and like my habits are getting better. But there's certain things I need to like just work on. So that's just the big thing I wanted to talk about, because I know sometimes when you're in this certain process, you're trying to figure things out. You may be lost. You may be confused. It's not easy. Sometimes it's like they say, it's easier said than done. Like sometimes you're in this process, you're trying to figure things out, you're putting in the right steps, but things just aren't clicking. And I think that's where my frustration came in. Like things just aren't clicking. But at the same time too, I also have to remind myself, and maybe you guys can relate, that where you came from, or where things, where maybe, the improvements that you've made. And as I'm looking at things, like I look at myself, I'm 1% better, but sometimes I want to be 50% better. I want to be 75% better, right? So that's kind of the concept that I'm going to be taking the next couple of weeks, or I guess the next week or so. Just focusing on being 1% better, not overreacting when things don't pan out. And I think that's where the frustration comes in, because maybe I feel like I should be going faster, like that could be it too. But also just practicing gratitude. I think that's also a big thing as well. And the concept of this whole video is just delayed gratification. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to stay authentic, and